Good morning and namaste. Thank you for the warmest welcome at Namaste, Joy, Jimmy, everyone in the constellation. And this is a song of gratitude for everyone here, everyone, as we are one. It's called My Sweet, Almighty, Forever Babe. Nothing's gonna change my world. My sweet almighty forever babe, holy brother. You are my gifts of salvation, looking through sunglasses of tie-dye love, where every breath together. Summertime, jasmine clears the mind. Oh, 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 halle, halle. I am spirit. Oh, 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 halle, I got you, babe. Yeah. Butterflies, Lake Chapala, summer breeze, guava trees. Lay your hands down into the circle of life. Swimming in light bright, rest as light, look as light, let the waves break through the other side. Golden tickets, the fire of love will not burn you. No, hey, oh, 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 halle, halle. I am spirit. Oh, 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 halle, I got you, babe. Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Here comes the sun. Here comes the song. Forever singing chorus of honey soap love. We are melting in love light, firelight, holy smoke. Love is rising. Who says you can't go home right now? Oh, 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 halle, halle. I am spirit. Oh, 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 halle, I got you, babe. Yeah, sing with me. Whoa, 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 Thank you so much. Love you.
Nice. While Lori was singing, Joy asked me, had you heard her before? And I said, no, I just had a feeling. I just had a feeling she was going to be great. And she was. What a nice way to begin, eh? My microphone here to work properly. Okay, stay. Okay. All right. Once again, welcome everybody. Great to have all of you here with us. I don't know if my shirt is reversed in the camera here, but you had me at Namaste. That's the way we look at it here. You may remember the movie Jerry Maguire. You had me at hello. Well, this is the new message. We have each other. We have everything. We have everything in the experience of Namaste. What more could we ever ask for? But right here, right now. And there's such joy, such passion right here, right now. Last night, for those of you who were able to join us for the Moses Code, that was fantastic, wasn't it? Wasn't that fun? We had such a beautiful group, and the energy was so high because we know that the name of God is our inheritance, as it says in the Course. The name of God, I am that, is my literal inheritance, the experience of being everything at once, of realizing everything at once. This is what has been held for me. That's what an inheritance is. It's held for me as sacred. It's protected. And so the name of God and the experience of that name is held for me. It's my inheritance right now. If only I would claim it. And that's what we're doing now. We're claiming. Every time we say, I am, we're claiming the power, the strength, the wisdom of the name of God. And as we said last night, you can do that for good or for less. So let's keep focusing as we are on claiming who we are, the truth of who we are, the reality of that, as opposed to the unreality. And every day as we come together and we share these lessons that I'm just sort of bringing through, basically every message is about that. Are you willing to claim what is true and let go of what never has been? And today's lesson in particular, I think, is really great at that. Many of these sentences are just so clear and right to the truth. When it starts with a sentence like, what is not seeable cannot be seen. That makes sense, doesn't it? What is not seeable cannot be seen. Wow. I mean, that's like, okay, and so what is not, I cannot see what is not really there. And yet that is what I've always done. That's when I try to make a dream real, I'm trying to see what is not really there because it has no true effect. That's the key. It has no true effect. It doesn't change me in any way. That's why it's not real. So let me share a little bit of this lesson here. This is a bit longer, but I really like this one. In fact, I was thinking as I was rereading it a moment ago that this is a lesson that St. Francis would have really loved. Okay? You'll see why. What is not seeable cannot be seen. This is another way of expressing the truth I am trying to get you to understand every day. What you think you see is only a dream, so convincing, so total that you believe it's real. But what seems real in a dream is not truly real unless we share it. Unless we share it. And I cannot enter into your dream as much as you want me to. And this is really the thing, isn't it? We want God to share our dream. We want the divine, all that is, to be able to enter into and to change our dream and make it better and make it everything that we think it should be, rather than what we're going to hear here in a moment, which is the real message, which is what is not real is not real. What is a dream is a dream. I can't enter into that and share it with you. Therefore, why don't you just wake up? Why don't you enter into the world that we can share, where love is real, where love does not change, and neither do you. That's the message we hear over and over every day. I want you, or rather, you want me to heal you in, one more time. You want me to heal you of imagined illnesses. And I say, just open your eyes and see what is really there. And then the seeming effect of illness fades on its own. You want me to help you prosper in a world where nothing stays the same. And I say, choose instead the world where I am storing up riches for you that this world can never understand. Choose instead the world where I am storing up riches for you that this world can never understand. I think that's the line Francis would have loved. Then you'll have no interest in earthly riches. This may feel like a loss to you at the moment, at this moment, but when you finally learn to trust me, you'll realize that nothing is lost when you accept everything. That's a shocking statement, isn't it? You don't lose anything when you accept everything. But this is the greatest insanity of the ego. If I give up nothing, I've lost something. If I choose everything, if I accept everything, I've lost something. No, you can't lose anything that you love by accepting everything. Now, how do we do that? The answer is we don't. I can't. This is what we talked about yesterday. I can let grace do it for me, but I can't do it on my own because in my mind, I've isolated myself somehow. I've separated myself somehow. And this whole idea of independence makes me want to feel like, well, I can do this. I can pick myself up by my bootstraps and I can get this done. No, you can't. But you can allow it to be done. And that's really the key, is to know that it has already been done. That you never really left heaven except in your imagination. And when we realize that, then it becomes very easy, the simplest thing in the universe. Herein lies the critical difference between what you have believed until now and what I am trying to get you to realize. Here it is. You believe that you must give up what you love in order to receive everything that is lovable. You believe you must give up what you love in order to receive everything that is lovable. Everything that is real is lovable, while everything that is unreal is unworthy of your attention, let alone your love. Let me read that one more time. Everything that is real is lovable, while everything that is unreal is unworthy of your attention, let alone your love. There is no sacrifice in the love I am offering. No sacrifice in the love that the I am presence is offering you. But what you call love requires nothing but sacrifice. What you call love is really hate in disguise. But now, at last, you are able to see past all those strange illusions and perceive what has always been perceived by me, by the I am within you. And when this happens, when this gift has been fully received by your open mind, you will not stop for a moment to claim a shadow over the real world. That's what we've done. We've claimed shadows. Like Aristotle's great cave analogy. We see shadows on the wall, and because we're tied to a post, and that's all we can see right now, we believe that those shadows are reality. You all know the shadow analogy, right? Oh, you don't. Some of you do, some of you don't. Aristotle talked about his way of explaining the way we see in the dream. He said it's like having a cave, and there are posts tied near one wall. And there are slaves that are tied facing that wall, and they've been there their entire life. That's all they've ever known, is looking at this wall. Behind them, on the far side of the cave, there is a fire. And between them and the fire, there are walking constantly people in and out of the cave, other slaves who are doing the work. And when they walk by, the fire casts their shadows onto the wall that they see. And this is the only thing they've ever seen. So literally, the shadows on the wall are their world because they've known nothing else. And that's pretty much where the analogy usually ends. I always add a little bit extra, which is one day, one of these slaves somehow is able to wriggle free from the rope or the chain that has tied them their entire life to this pole, and somehow is able to free him or herself. And once free, looks around, sees the fire, and sees the other people coming in and out, and realizes that what they've been looking at is not reality, is not the world. What they're looking at are really just the shadows cast by these others onto the wall. And of course, what this one does is immediately try to free all of the other slaves that are tied to their own posts, and says, look, I'm free now. What you're looking at isn't the real world. What you're looking at are really just shadows. But of course, most of them, maybe even all of them, say, go away, I'm too busy looking at the world. I don't believe you. This is the world because it's all I see. Now, the one who is free now is able to see more and is able to recognize what is and what isn't, what can be shared and what cannot be shared. But it's an individual choice to see that, to realize that. And unfortunately, we can't do that until we have freed ourselves, or we have allowed ourselves to be freed from the chains that have kept us locked at looking only at shadows on a wall. And so each one of us has come to the point now, you're hearing my voice, or you're hearing the voice of others saying, all you need to do is turn around and see the fire, then you'll understand. And you've done that. You've wriggled yourself free enough at this point that you're able to turn around and to see what has always been seen by God. Which brings us right back to the beginning. Let's start at the beginning again. What is not seeable cannot be seen. What is not lovable cannot be loved. What is not knowable cannot be known. We could say that in 100 different ways, but the point is that unless we share that, not in the ego dream, because the people who are tied to those posts believe that they're sharing the world of shadows, but because they're shadows, nothing really has been shared, right? What we're allowed to share and to know is only that which is known by that I am current, otherwise known as God. But I like to say the I am because it helps us. There's a greater intimacy with that. It's not God, this being, this Zeus-like character in the sky. I think it's funny how Zeus, Santa Claus, all of these images, they were sort of combined to create this monotheistic Judeo-Christian idea of God, this white old man in the sky. How could that ever be possibly true? How could we have ever bought into such a silly illusion, idea? And so most of you have heard me say this before. When people ask me, do you believe in God? I was watching a Krishnamurti video, and he was asked that same question. Do you believe that there is a God? He said, no. And I say the same thing. I don't believe in God. What I believe in is only God. That's all there is. It's not an entity that's separate from me, obviously. It's all there is, if I'm willing to open up my eyes and to see that. But until then, I'm looking at shadows on a wall. Until you get to the point where you can't take it anymore, you can't stand it anymore. And that's what happened to the one that was able to wriggle free from the rope or the chain. Does that make sense? So it's time to turn around. It's time to look at the fire. It's time to choose to be free. That's all we're really doing, is coming together to acknowledge that and to allow that to be true, because it is true. It's that simple. So that being said, I didn't look and see if Vicky, are you here today?
Yes, Jimmy, I'm right
There
here.
she is. Hi, Vic. Welcome
Hi,
back.
Jimmy. Thank you.
Here we are, the tuning forks. Well,
So the line that got me, Jimmy, was that that unreality is unworthy of my attention. And I like that because it makes everything very simple. The only thing worthy of my attention would be reality, would be love, peace. It may not be in a particular form that I'm familiar with, or may not be a particular form I have in mind. And for me, as soon as I go to the particular form, and I'm saying this because I'm in the midst of particular movings around me in selling a house and all of that. So my prayer is not that, in the name of I am of Christ, let this house be sold for whatever. It is, what would you have through this expression? How would peace show through this expression? What is the will of holy oneness through this expression? So I wouldn't ask for the form, like, because he says in your reading, it's unworthy of my attention. So to give it attention and make it and set it up as something that's either good or bad would be another way of not seeing. But to come to a moment where there's obviously a moment of change that's ready to happen, to ask, what is God's will in this? Thy will be done. And this is no different than saying peace is my only goal. These are the times when very easily we slip into, let me sell this house and pack up, or let me stay here, or let me this, or let me that. And as long as I'm looking there, I'm still looking at the shadows on that wall, and I'm not looking at reality. I'm looking at what is unworthy of my attention. So if I turn my attention simply back to that same presence, it's not that you pray or I pray to a God outside of me. It literally is that Christ center, how I am, whatever name we give it. And we ask for that to express itself through me as my only goal. Let whatever the situation, whatever it appears to be, let it be done to me according to thy word, like Mary said. So there's always a stepping back from the particulars, because it's in the particulars that we can sink, or that I can, and easily get distracted into a land of, into a mental plane, which isn't a bad thing. It shows the power of the mind, but it isn't the consciousness of creativity, of creation, of our holy oneness. So in all of these things, and that's why it makes it simple. I don't have to decide, what should I ask for, what shouldn't I? I ask only for the peace of God to shine through me now in every situation, particularly the one I stand before this day. So if peace is our only goal, if everything we ask in the name of Christ, in the name of I am, is always given to us for our greatest joy, then all we have to do is relax, because there's no burden in that. There's the willingness to receive whatever expression is filled by grace, delivered by grace, and experienced by grace, right here and now. Amen, Jimmy.
Thank you, Vicky.
Thanks,
You reminded me of something. Last night we talked about the Moses Code. I saw that you were there, and I remembered, and I remember again as you're speaking, how important something is that you shared, which is that it's not about using the most powerful manifestation tool in the history of the world to manifest what I think I want. It's really about saying your will be done and allowing it to blossom out to include everything. And I remember when I was writing the book, thank you, Joy, I was at your house in Quincy at one point while I was still writing it. And you and I were talking about this, and you said pretty much exactly what you just said there. And it made me look at this in a very new way. And I want to read real quick what I wrote after that conversation with you, because the first half of the Moses Code starts off with saying, this is the power inherent in the name of God, I am that I am. And you can use that to manifest anything you want, right? That's the first half. And then we come to this part. This is what I wrote at your house. I hope you'll pay very close attention to what you're about to read and understand that I'm being very literal and quite serious. If you choose to continue exploring these teachings after you've read this note, then you'll be doing so at your own risk. You may decide to stop here and apply everything that you've learned until now. And if you do, I assure you that your life will be wonderful. You've already gained enough information to turn everything around. In fact, nothing will ever be the same from this moment on. Of course, he's talking about in the dream. That's the key. You can use the Moses Code to attract wealth beyond your imagination, abundance that you've never dreamed of, and everything else that your heart desires. If you stop right now and simply use everything you've learned, you'll be a shining example to everyone you encounter, showing them a new possibility in life. You've already come so far, and no one would fault you if you decide to end the journey here. But there's still a great distance to go. Information and experiences that your mind can't even begin to fathom. If you choose to remain in this path just a bit longer, I guarantee that everything will change. Everything. In fact, what you've learned up until now is just a fraction of what awaits you. If you're willing, all I can say is that you must be committed and serious if you wish to embark on the rest of this journey. It isn't meant for the faint of heart, but for those who are willing to risk everything for a chance to be everything. So everything that first paragraph says basically, hey, if you want to stay here in the dream and use the Moses Code or any other manifestation tool to just get stuff and to make your life great, you can do that. That's fine. And it'll work to a certain degree. But here's the key. It's never going to give you what you really want. It's never going to satisfy that yearning or scratch that itch that you've always felt but couldn't quite reach, couldn't quite satisfy. But if you choose to do what Vicky said, what she said just now, what she said to me like 13 years ago, you'll realize that there is another step beyond everything I've ever thought I wanted or desired or needed. There is the step beyond the dream itself. And that's what the name of God, the Moses Code, whatever you want to call it, is really meant for. It's not meant for you just to get more stuff. You can use it for that and it'll work. But what it's really meant is to manifest goodness, not goods. Is to bring about a shift at the very core of your being so that you will desire only one thing, and that is the peace of God to be manifest in your life. So I just thought of that as you were speaking, because it so reminded me of that conversation we had when I was writing this. So thank you, Vicky. Anything
Thank
else
you,
you want to
Jimmy.
share?
It's like the Moses Code is almost like the Old Testament, and there's the Christ Code that we're living into now. And the Christ Code is the code of living in I am, in wondrous welcome and surprise for whatever might unfold through us, without our design or direction trying to point a finger here or there. Thanks, Jimmy. I love you.
Thank you. Let's see if there's anyone else in the Zoom room that would like to share anything at all. Brock is gone. I saw he had a picture of a very old man, old white man behind him. He likes doing that, surprising me, but he seems to have left. Anyone else want to share anything? Just go ahead and unmute yourself or raise your hand. Are you getting it? Does this feel good? This should feel very good. That's the key. When you know that you can't do this on your own, but it's already been done. That's good news. You just have to accept that fully, joyfully. And that's all we're really doing here. We come together every morning to accept this joyfully, to have fun with it. We're not morose. We don't push away anything. We allow and accept everything. And that makes all the difference. Okay, well, let's turn it around to our family here at Namaste and see what you guys want to share. Hold on one second. Dun, 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 dun. It always focuses first on Bethel, but she's always sitting right there in the hot seat. You want to say anything,
I
Bethel?
want to change my hot seat. I was thinking about the cave analogy, and the reason I think most of my life I fought against the truth was because I'm like the slave in the cave, but I put myself there. Nobody else put me there. I tied myself to that cave. And even if my higher self goes out and sees the truth, the ego thing says, nah, that's not really it. Come on back in here. You feel safer in here. I like it here. This is where I've always been. It feels comfortable. But it's that battle that goes on between the higher self and the ego, who wants that constant battle. And since I created the ego, I want to defend it because I made it. So if I made it, it must be right. So I want to defend it. But that was the first part of my life. Towards the end of my life, where I am now, I'm recognizing that I don't want to do that anymore. That didn't serve me. And how do I know whether it's serving me or not? It's not, am I getting more things? It's the peace I feel in my heart. That's how I know.
Yeah, the peace we feel. By the way, how many of you have seen or love the movie Shawshank Redemption?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone loves that movie. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever. Well, you'll remember that it takes place in a prison, obviously, and there are two characters in particular. One toward the beginning, an old man who has been in the prison for almost all of his life, and yet it's time for him to leave. He's been paroled, and the prison, like you were just saying, has become his home. And he does very well in the prison. He's the librarian. Everyone respects him. He gets along with most people. But now he has to leave the prison. Now he's free. He can do whatever he wants to do. And yet, there's some kind of a syndrome that he encounters, which is he doesn't want to be free. He would much rather go back into the prison where he's comfortable and commit a crime, do whatever he has to do to get back into the prison. Of course, he ends up ending his own life because he can't get back. And he doesn't, because he was locked away for so long, he cannot enjoy the freedom that he has now. And it's really the same thing for us. And you described it beautifully, that we've been locked in this prison looking at shadows for so long that at first we don't know what to do with ourselves. But it's the peace that we feel. It's the freedom that we feel. If we can just follow that and then just allow the rest, that urge that we may feel to go back into the dream, to just, okay, no, I don't know about you, but I do that every I almost swore. I do that every morning. I do that every morning. My alarm clock goes off. I wake up, but what do I really want to do? I want to go back into the dream. I want to go back to sleep. So I hit the snooze button. 10 more minutes. That's my mantra. 10 more minutes of the dream and I'll be fine. But I could take 10 more minutes 10 times if I wanted. Just keep hitting that snooze button. It's time to wake up, folks. It's time to wake up.